Hello again, I am back with another video. This time we are in round 6 of the Nottingham Regional Championship. And just as a quick note before we get started, if you haven't watched my two previous videos from round 4 and round 5 of this particular regional, I strongly suggest that you go and do so. Before you have a watch of this video, I'm going to be referring to previous games and talking, assuming that you're safe in the knowledge of those previous games. I'm going to make sure the links are in the description of this particular video. So if you haven't watched rounds 4 and 5, featuring Seismitoad, Garbodor, Yveltal against Mega Groudon, and Execute against Seismitoad, Yveltal, and Garbodor. Make sure you go and check them out before we get started. So we are in round 6 now, and you will notice the chap on the left is starting to look quite familiar. It is the lovely Ryan Moorhouse. He is playing Seismitoad, Yveltal, Garbodor, and we have so far seen him take down a Mega Groudon deck in round 4, piloted by Mark Richard Taylor, and we've seen him take down Damal's Execute deck in round 5. He's now up against Matthew King, who we can see on the right of our screen, who is basically playing the same deck. So we're seeing a little bit of a mirror match here. Now, because we are in round 6 of 7, and because we are on the top table, and it's inevitable that, you know, when you're doing the top table, when you're just recording that one, you are going to see some people like Ryan get repeated here. It is inevitable that we're going to see that, and, you know, we're on round 6. These two, I don't think it's a spoiler at this stage to tell you that both of these chaps made it into the top 8. So we are seeing good players. So it looks like Matthew has won the flip, and they both start with an Yveltal, and Matthew gets the Garbodor, the Trubbish down. Not a huge amount of point putting the Trubbish down, but it might knock off Ryan's Jirachi or Dark Cloak from Darkrai, so there is a little bit of point putting it down there. It isn't the kind of matchup where it's going to do a huge amount of good, but it may have a little bit of good as we go along. And as Matthew is playing a Juniper there, it is worth just kind of, you know, popping the Trubbish on the bench. Although those Garbodors, when they get evolved and they've got a retreat cost of 3, they can be quite cumbersome to get out of the active, but we don't know. Matthew might play a Darkrai to use the Dark Cloak ability to give it free retreat as long as it's got a Dark Energy attached to it. So Matthew manages to get a Dark Energy and a Muscle Band on the active Yveltal turn 1, which is incredibly useful. Ryan there is discarding the Garbodor and the N. Presumably he's got another supporter in hand. And like I've said, the Garbodor here can be useful. It can turn off Jirachi's ability, which apparently I got wrong in a previous video, so I apologise for that. And, you know, it can turn off Dark Cloak. We know that Ryan's playing Darkrai at this stage. We've seen him in a couple of games before. Matthew, we don't know if he's playing Darkrai, so like I've said, Garbodor, useful, but not, you know, absolutely needed. And Ryan goes for a baby Yveltal there. What Ryan doesn't want to do here is just get into an Yveltal on Yveltal scrap. Then you're kind of opening it up a bit to who draws better, and he plays an N there, so he did have a second N. And you're opening it up to, you know, if your opponent gets the first Yveltal KO, you could be in trouble. What Ryan's going to do is start off with the baby Yveltal here, doing a little bit of damage, hopefully 50 with a Muscle Band, softening up Matthew's Yveltal to make sure that Ryan gets the first one. It's kind of like the old Mewtwo Wars, although not quite as pronounced. You need more than just a double colourless energy Muscle Band or laser to get it done. But Ryan can also, you know, like I say, he can build up the Yveltal on the bench. And you see him benching another one there. These are going to be key here. He gets an energy on the bench to Yveltal EX, so maybe he isn't going for softening up the active. Or maybe there was just no energy in the discard pile, so it wasn't even worth attacking with the Yveltal. Now we see a Mewtwo there from Matthew, and that's very interesting because I've just alluded to the Mewtwo Wars. When two Mewtwo start attacking each other, then we see, you know, the Mewtwos kill each other very quickly. Mewtwo, on the other hand, can be pretty good otherwise than that. So Matthew's basically setting up to say, alright, you know, Ryan, if you get your big Yveltal KO my active Yveltal, I'm going to make sure that I've got a Mewtwo on the bench, you know, ready to get the return KO there as well. And as we see another Juniper, they're getting rid of 2 VS Seekers, which is, It's a little bit harsh. You want those VS Seekers, but nothing he can do. I don't believe he had any other supporters in his discard unless I missed something, so all he could have done was VS Seekers for a Juniper anyway. And in a match like this, we got two good players, we're playing good decks, and, you know, these aren't slow setup decks. We need to get the fast setup. Now we see a Headringer there from Matthew, which is very interesting, going down on the Yveltal EX that's got the energy on, and that's the Team Flare card, the tool which you put on your opponent's Pokemon, and it adds 1 to the cost of their attack. Now Matthew's going to get a second energy on Yveltal, and he's going to be able to Evil Ball for 80. Because he's got, assuming I believe that's a muscle band on there, he's going to be doing 40 for the energy, 20 for the attack generally, and 20 for the muscle band, popping it up to 80. Although that is then going to do 90 because of the poison which we have on him. So that Yveltal isn't going to last very long, but that's not necessarily the end of the world here. Ryan's only got one non-EX Pokemon down. If Ryan goes fully, and he's chorusing for 5, not the end of the world. We said before, you know, you're really looking for at least 6 with a chorus, ideally 7 to 10. But going for 5, it could be worse. But if Ryan only benches EX Pokemon from here on out, then that dead Yveltal will essentially be entirely pointless. Because Ryan, you know, Matthew's going to need to take 5 more prizes. If there's only EXs down, then he has to take those 5 prizes by knocking out 3 EXs. And Ryan's made him play what we like to refer to as a 7-prize game. So Ryan's getting a Floatstone on that benched Yveltal just to make sure that he can't be Headringing the following turn. But it looks like he's missed the energy drop, which is far from ideal, because he really needs to be attacking. With the Headringer on that Yveltal, he's going to need to have a double colourless energy just to do Evil Ball, and he won't be able to Y Cyclone next turn. One interesting thing about Yveltal and Headringer, of course, is that once you've got 2 energy on Yveltal, the Headringer doesn't reduce the amount of damage being done. All you need to do is make sure that you've got 3 energy on there, and you're still adding 60 damage through the 3 energy. And then the Seismitoad goes down with a Floatstone again because he's trying to avoid that Headringer. Matthew, of course, got the KO on the previous turn with Yveltal's Evil Ball. But he isn't really at much of an advantage at the moment. The other brilliant thing about playing a 7-prize game is that Matthew's going to go down to 5 prizes, you know, 1 prize left, and have to KO an EX, at which point Ryan will be able to end him to just a single card and potentially disrupt his setup. Now you see both players have got Seismitoad EX down. Ryan's getting it into the active, and he's got a double colourless energy on it, and there we see the Quaking Punch. And I believe, there we go, it is a muscle band, not a Floatstone on Seismitoad, so the Quaking Punch is going to do 50. And that locks Matthew from playing playing trainers the following turn. Now, this is a slightly dodgy plan at the moment, because it's not doing a huge amount of damage, and with Matthew having Pokemon down like Yveltal and Mewtwo that can attack for lots of damage, you know, by, you know, using your energy against you, maybe Matthew's going to be able to get the damage going just a little bit quicker. However, what the Seismitoad does do is it stops Matthew playing all of his trainers and his lasers and all of that, and if Ryan's got lasers and Matthew hasn't, that can give him a big advantage in the game, and that was clearly what he was going for. You see, Matthew there he's pulled up the Yveltal with the Lysandre as Ryan plays a laser, and he didn't hit anything, it went up the table. Oh no, they're counting it as a tails. And essentially, what he's trying to do there is win the Yveltal war. It takes a long time for Seismitoads to kill each other. Yveltals, it really doesn't. And if you are the only player in this matchup left with an Yveltal with a bunch of energy on, you can run through your opponent's Pokemon. And that's what Ryan's trying to avoid happening here. Now, we did see a max potion, it looks like, to get rid of all the damage on the Yveltal. And you saw a minute ago that Ryan also played a Pokemon Center Lady. He did Ultra Ball it away, but it's in his deck. And that really is giving Ryan a little bit of an edge at the moment. You see that Ryan has lost a Pokemon, but there's only EXs down, so as we've said, it's really not a huge deal. And he has negated the attack done by Matthew's Yveltal. Now Matthew's Yveltal is sitting there in the active, it's poison. There's no Verbank City gym down yet, so it is only doing 10 between turns. And, Ryan is going to be able to do a Quaking Punch or two here, soften up that Yveltal, and get the first EX KO, and that's more important. Having said that, Matthew is in a position to, pop a DCE onto the Yveltal and do... I think it would do 160 damage. There would be 6 energy total for 120, plus the 20 for the attack is 140, plus the muscle band would do 160. No lasers because he's trainer locked. So with a DCE, Matthew could do as much as 160 damage here. However, that's not enough to kill 180 HP Seismitoad. So we are potentially looking a little bit dodgy here. Matthew, he can do a big evil ball. The best bet here would be to do what he's doing, to attach energy to the bench and just do evil ball for a paltry 120. Yeah, we'll be doing 120. Oh, but there looks to be a Pokemon Center lady from Matthew there, which takes some energy off, some damage off, and also gets rid of the poison, which is incredibly useful. And now he does 120 to the Seismitoad. And what's really good about this matchup in terms of a mirror is you can see, there's another laser straight away, and he hits a heads, which is huge. Matthew, now that he's trainer locked from the Quaking Punch, isn't able to use switches, so if he doesn't wake up naturally, there really is nothing he's going to be able to do to get out of that switch next turn. And you see that both players have got options. They've both got their Yveltal to attack with, Matthew's got his Mewtwo ready to go, and they've both got Seismitoad. And Ryan's gone for the Seismitoad here, and there is the Verbank City Gym to make sure that poison damage adds up a little bit faster. And the reason Ryan's gone for Seismitoad here is basically to control the game. He has basically negated that the head ringer. He got all the damage off it, and now he's put a double colorless energy on there. He just needs to evil ball for one, dark energy would be enough, and he's got the other Yveltal down with a different tool on it. So he's kind of negated all the early stuff Matthew did, and he hits tails on the laser flip, and that is absolutely huge. Now, it's hard to see with the dice they're using how much damage is on there, but I believe we are going to see a KO here. Because there's going to be... Yes, there is indeed, because there's going to be 30 after... there's going to have been 2 Quaking Punches and at least 3 lasers. And that's really going to give Ryan the advantage here. Now, Ryan needs to be careful to try and not bench any non-EX Pokemon if he can get away with it here, because he really wants to force Matthew into the 7-prize game. If he does so, he's going to have a huge advantage here. What going for Seismitoad EX has done for Ryan is to basically make sure that he dictates the pace of the game. Now, the Max Potion was incredibly useful in denying Matthew the prizes, but now he's going to go a prize up, and he's going to make sure that Matthew still hasn't got his trainers. So if you can take KOs with Seismitoad, you actually stop your opponent playing any trainers the turn after they've been KO'd. And that is incredibly frustrating. So like we see, there is the KO from the Seismitoad. Ryan's gone a prize up, and he's still got that Seismitoad active. So Matthew pops up the Trubbish with a Float Stone just because it's got free retreat, and now Matthew doesn't have to decide what he wants active until he's actually attacking. Here, what he really wants to do is try and kill that Seismitoad. So you see him thinking about putting the energy on the Yveltal. Now the way I do Yveltal mass is basically just count up each energy, adding 1 for Muscle Band and 1 for Yveltal. So, there's 120 damage on Seismitoad, so Matthew needs to get 6 from the Yveltal, but the Yveltal's currently got 5 on him, 2 for the Seismitoad energy, 2 for the Yveltal, and 1 for the... 2 for the double colourless and 1 for the Yveltal. But he's instead gone to get the KO with the Mewtwo. And the reason he's done that is because Mewtwo takes the KO with 1 less energy, making it more difficult for Ryan to get the KO with Evil Ball, although there goes Lysandra for the Yveltal. And that's what Ryan's worried about here. Yveltal just does more damage. He KOs more easily than Mewtwo does. He needs 2 energy attachments because it's a dark and a colourless to do the energy. But when you've got the energy on, Yveltal's a bigger threat because it's the exact same attack as X-Ball, but it does 20 damage more. And you see there, Ryan was able to Lysandra it up and kill it. He's now down to 2 prizes. And at this stage, this game looks academic. We see that Matthew has got the Mewtwo on the bench with the 2 energy. but he's only doing 120 or 140 with a muscle band to the Yveltal. A double colourless energy, if Matthew's got any left, would get the KO on the Yveltal, but Ryan would then just need one dark energy on his Yveltal to get the KO on Mewtwo. And that's what makes these games so fast-paced. With the Evil Balls, essentially, you pile energy on to get the KO, and then your opponent uses your energy against you. So what Matthew has to try and do here is basically get the KO without putting too much energy. Now, Ryan's down to 2 prizes, and the reason he's in such a good position is either Matthew doesn't get the one-hit KO on Yveltal, and then Ryan's got an Yveltal there which is hitting for a base of 100 for energy plus the 20 for Yveltal. He's hitting for a base of 100 here without any, before we give any energy to Matthew's Pokemon. Ryan's going to get the KO very, very quickly. The alternative, you know, the kind of way out for Matthew here is to try and there we see the Enter 2, which, I mean, Ryan at this stage needs a dark energy, so it's not going to do a huge amount. The way out for Ryan here is to get the KO with his own Yveltal, with his Mewtwo, but the problem is that's going to involve putting a bunch of energy on each of them, and we saw that the Matthew's Yveltal with the energy got KO'd, so it's going to be another 2 energy attachments before he can use Evil Ball. Evil Ball again taking a dark and a colourless energy, so you can't get that going in one turn, at least since Dark Patch rotated out. So the real problem he's got here is if he gets the KO by popping on a bunch of energy, Ryan's just going to be able to bring up his benched Yveltal, and with 1 dark energy, he can ignore the head ringer and just do Evil Ball anyway for a bare minimum of 80 damage, and that's assuming there's no energy on Ryan's Pokemon. So Matthew has done about the only thing he can. He's put up the non-EX Yveltal. Now, we know that Matthew has KO'd a non-EX Pokemon. Ryan hasn't yet. So Matthew's trying to force Ryan into a 7-prize game, make him KO the non-EX Yveltal, and then hopefully Ryan can come and pick off the Yveltal, but there's still the one on the bench which is threatening there. Now, that the Yveltal that's EX that Ryan's got active is currently doing 120 damage. We've got 5 energy, which is 100, plus the 20 for Yveltal is 120, and then we've got the float stone there, which doesn't add any damage. So we'd need a laser or another energy to get the KO, but as we've said, the more energy you put on an Yveltal, the more damage it does, but then the more susceptible it is to a rival Yveltal X, or indeed to a Mewtwo. Ryan is still in a better position here. What Ryan really needs is a Lysandra. We can see that Matthew, he's got his Mewtwo and his Yveltal that he's building up on the bench. And Ryan there is content to just add an energy to his benched Yveltal. Ryan only needs 1 more EX KO. So as long as he kind of, and we see that he did 120 damage, I think that was, and he's not got the KO yet. But Ryan doesn't need the KO on that baby Yveltal. That baby Yveltal does nothing for him. What Ryan needs to do is KO an EX. He basically needs a Lysandra. He gets a Lysandra and it's game right there and then. He's going to be able to pull something up off the bench. For instance, the Jirachi, which has been benched. And then, you know, like I say, that benched Yveltal is already doing 80. In fact, both Yveltals are currently doing 80. And, you know, so even if there's no energy on the Jirachi, you need 1 energy or a laser. And then you've got the KO on the Jirachi right there. So the Yveltal isn't a problem. Ryan just needs to make sure that he KOs one of Matthew's EXs before Matthew KOs one of his EXs and something else. And at this stage, it really does look like Matthew's on the losing end. Now, I mentioned in the first video we did from round 4 about scooping at the right time. I'm not saying this game is unwinnable for Matthew at this stage, but I am saying it's gone on a little bit. This is basically a 50-50 matchup because you're talking about a mirror match, and even though Matthew hasn't lost here, he's massively the underdog. Ryan's got less prizes left, he's got better attackers set up, ready to go, and it looks like he's going to win this. And we're playing 50 minutes best of 3. That means that if Matthew loses this, either in this first game, he's got to win 2 very quick games, or he's got to win 1 and then settle for a tie. And no one wants to settle for a tie. Ties are rubbish. So if I were Matthew here, I would be seriously thinking about scooping. And it's not the Yveltal that's active, it's the benched Yveltal. Now you can see Matthew here, what he's doing very cleverly is building up a pair of attackers. He needs to get 2 KOs to get the win, so he's building up a pair of attackers. Oh, and there's... and it looks like there was a Lysandra there as well, so yeah, that game's over. It was never going to be a win there for Matthew, and what Matthew was doing at the end of the game there, very cleverly, was building up a pair of attackers, so that he could take one KO, and if his attacker went down, he had another attacker ready to go. The problem is, each of those attackers gave up 2 prizes, and Ryan only had 2 prizes left. So there was no need for a second attacker. Ryan had done the same thing. He had the Yveltal active, and he built up a second Yveltal on the bench. And Matthew had 3 prizes left. So all that Matthew could really do there was take out the active Yveltal EX, but Ryan had another one there sitting on the bench ready to go. And as predicted, that game came down to Ryan. And I would think that, personally, I think I think that Matthew scooped just a little bit late in that game. Now he really is going to be under time pressure. I'm not actually timing this game, I should be, but hey-ho. And he's now got to win 2 complete games, or he's going to win 1 complete game and settle for a tie. The ball is massively in Ryan's court here, because all Ryan needs to do is make sure that this game doesn't end and he wins the series.